Okay, so Aiden, something I wanted to ask you about was Walking Dead night.
What?
Oh yeah. So
What does that mean?
this is just like a funny story to give context behind like the type of person that I spent the weekend with, because Sam is probably one of the funniest people I know, and I think he's had a big impact on like my like humor. And
You know
just,
what's
like,
really funny is that when I met Sam, he and Aiden talk exactly the same. Like they have the same accent.
Where's he from?
The way they like emphasize syllables.
He's from Wisconsin, but he has like more of a West Coast accent.
It's really
now.
weird.
Yeah.
You get them talking
I
together, you
didn't-
think
I
they're
didn't
like
pick that up at all.
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, we've just spent so much time together, and I think like he morphed a lot of like my humor over the years, like just through
a process
just
of
through hanging out.
soaking.
I
through
soaked
soaking.
his humor
Yeah,
out of
humor,
his dick and into
humor
my ass.
through osmosis.
He lost a little humor, but you guys had a great time.
No, I think this actually ties into what you were saying earlier, where I just think like part of like how I became funny, or at least like as funny as I am, is I think I'm just really, really good at matching like the expectations or like what is funny within a certain social group. So I pick up on like what pulls like within a social group, and when I spend a lot of time with a person, I notice I just subconsciously pick up on a ton of their habits. And
Right.
I think it starts to go the other way eventually as well.
You're a survivor.
Yeah, that's how I make it in this world. I'm a negotiator. So I have only known Sam for like about 2 or 3 months into college when this happened. And this is one of my like first impressions of him, because we hadn't hung out like that much yet at the beginning of college. We both lived on the same dorm. And the way our college dorm worked is that every 2 floors were sort of together, and each set of 2 floors was sort of centered around a lobby. And in the center of like the halls, you could like look up into the rafter of like the second floor from the first one. And his room was on the second floor, so when he walked out into the lobby area, you could like see him from down in the lobby. And that first year, we just like drank like way too much. And we'd go out every weekend. Most of the weekends, it'd be like a few nights in a row. And Sam would get like infamously hungover. Like even
Infamously, like in class the next day, like, bro.
no, just like he
Sam was
for-
off the fucking claws.
Yes, it is to not be infamously hammered, but infamously just, like, feeling
infamously
like shit.
hungover. No, that was the thing, is like he wouldn't have to drink that much to have like the worst hangover the next day. So it's like almost 2:30 p.m. the next day, and we're starting to wonder, like, has anybody seen or heard from Sam today? Like I haven't seen him. And all of a sudden the door from the hall into the lobby bursts open.
Like the Kool-Aid Man.
Like the
He
fucking
burst in.
Kool-Aid Man. It like slams against the opposite wall. And Sam is 6'5", and he just sort of like lumbers out like a zombie. And he looks at us all and he's like, "What happened? And we're all like, "What do you mean? We just like went we just went out. Like this is just a very like normal evening."
He's got
It's
the
like,
Mike
"What do you
Tyson
mean?"
tattoo.
And he begins to recount this story of how he blacked out, and when he woke up in his dorm room, his door to his room has been boarded up by a mattress, stacks of chairs, textbooks. So it looks like he has barricaded his door from the inside to, presumably stop someone from getting in. And his phone was dead. So he just saw this, had blacked, and was like, "What has happened? Like, I think I'm in the apocalypse and I can't contact anyone. And I have taken my roommate's mattress and all of these things from around the room to like block the door in." And so he came out like searching for an explanation. And we call it the Walking Dead night, because to this day, he does not remember why he put all of those things on the door.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was one of, this is like one of, first of like many stories of getting to know him.
That's like early college.
Yeah, this is only a couple months into college.
That's not bad.
You put that in the thing, and I was like, I wonder if this is Eamon encountering normie culture again and getting angry. Because I thought it was like let's gather around and watch Walking Dead.
I hate
And
that
we-
show.
And it's just Aiden. And he's like, and they just fucking like gather around and they watch it. It's a fucking bad show. It's a bad show. It's an indictment of shows. And I was hoping for that.
It's not quite.
That's okay.
But he also did one other thing this weekend. So he, if you're a med student, naturally you're pretty busy. But during the summer, he listened to all the podcast episodes that came out before his classes had started. And while we're hanging out, it's me, him, our friend Ian, who he went to high school with and also lived with us in Seattle for 1 year, and then another friend, Michael, who actually also did the same, was from Wisconsin but just decided to come live with us in Seattle for a short bit, just for like the hell of it. And we're hanging out, and we're buying groceries, but we want to get a pizza for that night. And Sam is like, he's like, Ian, I need you to order the pizza. I need you to get a pizza. And he's like laying out like the pizza place he should order from. He like recommends like a type of pizza he should get. He's like, there's this crazy type of like pizza you get with like crab on it and stuff. And he's like, and make sure you tell them to get it with the works. It's like really important.
Oh no.
And Ian is like, what? And he's like, yeah, the works. You just get like all the sauces and stuff. Like make sure you do the works. And I'm like,
this is
I'm
right
just
up
like,
his alley
there's just
too.
no
This is the
shot.
most him
He's a
shit
fucking
ever.
Ice Climbers player. Like this is his element.
I'm like, there's just no shot Ian falls for this. Like there, and Ian and Sam mentions it like 5 different times.
Maybe overselling.
And Ian is like caving. He's like starting to think like, I guess like I've heard that phrase related to pizza before. And he finally makes the call and he's like, yeah, can I get the crab large pizza? And can we get that with the works? And then in the hall of the grocery store, we all burst out laughing because Michael, Sam, and me all know he's just fucking with it. And then Ian's like, okay,
Oh
all right.
shit.
And then he gets off the phone and he's like, yeah, she just said okay and took the order. And that was it. And then turns out the works was just actually a thing there.
Did Sam know that?
No.
Wow.
That's a W.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the works is a thing. I worked
I
at a
was
pizza
gonna
place.
say-
I mean, it is a
Just-
thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like a supreme pizza thing. You
Not
get,
at
like,
Starbucks, but it's a
No,
thing.
Starbucks is not a thing, but like pizza and like sandwiches, like basically that's how they do it at Jersey Mike's. It's called Mike's
What
Way.
if you
That's
were
the
like, hey,
works.
can I get a Gumby costume but with the works?
Dude,
It's like
you're
got
like,
a cock on it.
It's covered
Yeah.
in sauce.
it just has a big cock and ball, like a giant.
It's just a hamburger costume instead.